Hi, everyone. It's Joe Chaffee on this Thursday as we are heading full steam ahead into the Easter weekend. I just want to take a look at what actually is a fairly pleasant day in terms of temperatures, although we've been dealing with some cloud cover around parts of New Jersey, Long Island, southern New England, the Hudson Valley, eastern Pennsylvania, and so on. Some high clouds coming through. But temperatures in the much more seasonal, and I guess for this time of year, much more reasonable, mid to upper 50s during the lunchtime hour, which kind of makes sense. We're in a cooler air mass, and that's where we're going for the next 2 days. We'll be about the same on Friday and even to a large degree on Saturday. Just want to show you a couple of things that are happening. First off, on the radar, let me just freshen this up. There was a lot of activity in terms of rain and snow into central and northern California last night. It's still there, but a bit diminished now, and it extends up through parts of Nevada into Idaho and into western Montana. Also getting some rains coming into northern California on the coast, the northwest coast, and also up into northwestern Oregon and the west coast of Washington state. As far as weather conditions to the east, we have a little bit of activity around the Great Lakes, some dying showers and what were some thunderstorms overnight. The high clouds from this area will survive, and that's something that we're going to deal with here. Already had some go through earlier today. We'll probably have some go through tonight into tomorrow morning. And back through Texas, we have some shower and thunder shower activity there. Also into western parts of Oklahoma and right up here into northern Texas. So, but for most of the country, the weather activity is pretty quiet and calm. On the satellite loop, a couple of things that stand out. One is the fact that we've got this low that's off the coast. You can see the low cloud swirl here, pretty well defined, but there's very little convection with this. This is not a tropical system by any stretch of the imagination. If this were mid-June and we had something like this, I'd probably be looking for some kind of subtropical development, but this low is just kind of spinning away this low cloud swirl, and you've got these thunderstorms. It's sort of a gale center, I guess, and that's going to go out to the northeast. Here's the blow-off cloud cover coming in from the Great Lakes, and you can see the showers and storms that are being generated by this upper air disturbance back through Oklahoma and through Texas. So the weather pattern overall is going to be pretty much the same. You know, I just realized I want to do the West also. So before we get to the models, here's the back edge of that disturbance in Texas and Oklahoma. And you've got this streaming moisture that's coming out of the Pacific. You can see it here that runs up through the Pacific Northwest. By the way, you can really pick out, here's the deep trough. I mean, it really stands out as far as what's going on in the upper layers of the atmosphere, and it's driving that jet way to the south. And that's pretty impressive here in terms of what's happening out in the western U.S. So let's look real quick. I'm not gonna keep the videos a little short over the next couple of days with the holidays, and I'm just kind of trying to wind myself down a little bit to get a bit of a break. But here we go in the east, and you can see at least through Friday into Saturday. Now, later Saturday afternoon into Saturday night, we do have a warm front. This is marking the leading edge of very warm air that's coming up from the southwest. And one of the things that I think is going to set up on Sunday in a large area of the northeast and mid-Atlantic will be a west wind in this warm air mass, and I think that could heat things up into well into the 80s in some places, depending on how much sun we get. Meanwhile, you look out in the west with what's coming in, that's going up to the north, and I know one of my regular commenters from Colorado, northwestern Colorado, points out that they had no snow for the month of March. It was the least snowiest winter on record. Going back to the late 1800s, and the drought situation here is pretty serious. So we're going to have to see if something with all that action in the West, it just seems to keep bypassing much of the central Rockies. So going through the weekend, now here's that westerly flow I'm talking about for Sunday. This is Sunday morning. This is a straight, almost west wind here. That really should heat things up depending on how much sun is around. There's the next cold front that's going to come through Sunday evening with some cooler air behind it. But the setup here in the east is for a very, very warm day indeed. And then the front comes through with maybe a shower or a thunderstorm Sunday night. And then we get this next high to build in on Monday. Now, notice there is a low that's going to come out that comes into California over the week, late Sunday, and that translates itself over into Texas. And notice it just almost bypasses the state of Colorado in terms of getting any kind of rain. It basically jumps the divide and reforms the rain in parts of Kansas and Nebraska, and then on up into the Dakotas. So that's the next weather system at play for later next week. High pressure building up into the eastern Great Lakes. And, by Wednesday, we've got some rain showers coming into the northeast again, and then another cool high behind it. So, it looks like, we're not going to get any kind of prolonged warm up out of this. And out in the west, another system, this is for Tuesday of next week, what comes into California with some more rain and snows pretty much up and down the coast there. That translates out into a low in Wyoming, but this kind of bypasses much of the central Rockies, although it does produce some snow into northwestern Colorado and on up into western Wyoming, at least this particular low, according to what the models are showing. One thing that is consistent that we see from run to run, and we'll go with the upper air, and let me just widen this out so we can take a look at the whole region. First, I'll start with the new GFS, which is halfway done. But you can see that westerly flow, that action in the Pacific just is unrelenting. Now, we're into later next week where this ridge starts to pop up into the east again. But let me just backtrack here. Here's for the weekend. We get that ridge in the east just popping up ever so slightly on Sunday, but just enough that we get this quick warm-up, and then out that goes. Then the ridge kind of wants to try to pop up toward the end of the week. When we look at last night's run, one of the things I noticed is, there it goes for the end of next week. That really fires up that ridge going into next weekend. And then once that breaks down, pattern gets a little more active. There's some semblance of blocking, but it's hard to figure out what kind of impact that's going to have. I think, from the standpoint of what's been going on in the Pacific, that's going to continue. And by the way, here we go at the end of next week. A big ridge comes into the west, so you get a bit of a break here in terms of activity for the last, let's say from about April. Let's go back here for the west. So basically from next Friday right through the middle part or latter part of the following week before something comes into the west again. So you do get a bit of a break, and action attempts to shift to the east. But bottom line through all of this, no big storms on the horizon, just more nuisance events than anything else. And we are going to have a very nice Easter Sunday with temperatures into the 80s. I'll give you a real quick view of the temperatures here as far as what they're going to look like along the East Coast. And this is not the forecast highs, by the way, but we get the temperature maps every 6 hours. So it's basically for 2 p.m. on Sunday. So this is Sunday morning with temperatures near 60. By 2 p.m., it's in the upper 70s just about everywhere up into central New York State and into southern New England and southern and central New England. My experience with these things is that they tend to be underdone. And we saw what just happened with models trying to have a tough time getting temperatures up toward 80. And we actually had temperatures up in the middle to upper 80s, not just here, but all the way up into southern interior central New England just 2 days ago. So I wouldn't be at all surprised to see low to mid 80s here in areas that are showing mid to upper 70s. So that is for Easter Sunday. I think most of the day should be dry. As long as the warm front keeps on moving, we should have a fair amount of sunshine. And then the front that comes through here Sunday evening maybe produces a shower or a thunderstorm. Okay, so everybody have a great afternoon. If you're getting an early start to the weekend, enjoy, and a happy Easter. You can check out all the latest website posts, meteorologistjoechaffee.com. Also, Angry Ben on nycweathernow.com. Visit my Facebook page at Meteorologist Joe Chaffee, JoeCioffi, and do like my Facebook page. I put up a lot of other articles too that I've been, a lot of weather-related articles from USA Today that I saw a couple of them, but also Popular Science and a number of meteorological journals have been publishing some interesting pieces. So you can find those all on my Facebook page. And thanks to all my subscribers. Anybody new to the YouTube video, welcome. You can hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel. It's absolutely free, and you'll get notified anytime a new video shows up, which is usually once a day. Okay, so everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.